3 hours before I walked down the aisle, my ex-boyfriend showed up at my wedding. Uninvited, unapologetic, and completely convinced that I still wanted him. What he didn't know was that the woman who intercepted him in the hotel lobby wasn't just the wedding planner. She was his mother. That's right. 2 years after Tyler Bennett dumped me over text, while I was visiting my dying grandmother, I hired his mother to plan a wedding to the man who actually showed up for me. It wasn't revenge, it was respect. Because Eleanor Bennett never ghosted me. She never disappeared when it was hard. She showed up again and again until she wasn't just my ex's mom. She became family. So when Tyler came storming into the Grand Hyatt, demanding to speak with me, declaring he had finally realized the truth, he walked straight into a wall he never saw coming. His mother and me. Together. If you've ever been left without closure, if you've ever been told you were the problem, only to find out they just couldn't handle someone real, this story is for you. What would you have done if your ex showed up on your wedding day? Vote #Team Vanessa if you believe closure comes in heels and a silk robe. And don't forget to subscribe to EN Reddit Story for daily true stories of karma, growth, and quiet revenge. I met Tyler Bennett when I was 25. He was charming, spontaneous, and reckless in a way that made everything feel like a movie. For 5 years, I tried to convince myself that was enough. We had what most people would call potential. But the reality was messier. Tyler made me feel like a backup plan wrapped in promises he never intended to keep. Still, I stayed. I told myself love required patience, that chaos meant passion, that people just needed time to grow. And maybe that was true. But growth only matters when both people are actually trying. It ended with a text message, a breakup paragraph, sent while I was holding my grandmother's hand in the ICU. I can't do this anymore. It's not you, it's me. I need space, we're too different. That was it. No conversation, no goodbye, just silence at the worst possible time. I remember rereading it over and over, waiting for a follow-up. A phone call, a moment of decency. It never came. What did come, unexpectedly, was his mother. Eleanor Bennett had always treated me like a daughter. She was warm, poised, fiercely intelligent, and emotionally present in ways Tyler never could be. She showed up at my apartment a week after the breakup with homemade lemon muffins and a bottle of wine. I expected awkward sympathy. Instead, she sat across from me and said this: "He's making a terrible mistake. And I didn't raise him to be this cowardly. I can't undo what he's done, but I can be here." And she was. While Tyler moved on, or pretended to, Eleanor and I stayed connected. We had lunch every few weeks. She helped me land 2 high-profile corporate events for her struggling wedding planning business. And slowly, she became more than just an ex-boyfriend's mother. She became a friend, a mentor, a woman who showed me what emotional maturity actually looks like. When I met Daniel, the man who would become my husband, it was the first time I didn't feel like I was shrinking in someone else's presence. Daniel was steady, kind, the kind of man who didn't perform love, he lived it. He brought me soup when I had the flu, held my hand during every work crisis, flew in to meet my dad without being asked. When he proposed on a snowy mountaintop in Aspen, there was only one person I wanted to call, right after my parents: Eleanor. I still remember how quiet she got when I said the words, "I know this might be awkward, but would you plan my wedding?" Her voice broke on the first syllable. "Sweetheart, nothing would make me prouder." It wasn't a dig at Tyler. It wasn't a revenge play. It was about building something beautiful with someone who had never left when things got hard. For 6 months, Eleanor poured her heart into every detail, finding the venue, coordinating vendors, rehearsing the processional down to the minute. She was calm, creative, fiercely protective. But neither of us expected Tyler to show up. Tyler found out about the wedding 3 weeks before the ceremony. I know that because Eleanor texted me that night. He found out, at dinner, he was not graceful about it. Apparently, one of Eleanor's assistant planners had posted a behind-the-scenes clip of our final venue walkthrough on Instagram. Tyler saw it, recognized me, recognized the Grand Hyatt, and then recognized his mother. He confronted Eleanor over dinner, accused her of betrayal, of choosing me over her own blood. After everything, he'd snapped, "You pick her?" Eleanor didn't flinch. "I'm not picking anyone. I'm doing my job and supporting someone I care about." "You made your choices, Tyler. Don't punish others for living with the consequences. That was Eleanor, elegant steel. She never raised her voice, but she never backed down. When she told me what happened, I felt a small tremor of fear. Not because I still had feelings for Tyler, those had been buried long ago, but because I knew what he was like when things weren't about him. He'd never hit me, never yelled, but Tyler had a way of crashing through boundaries like they were made of paper, of reappearing when it was least convenient, of treating regret like a permission slip. Eleanor reassured me he wouldn't dare come. He knows he'd embarrass himself. Still, part of me wasn't so sure. The morning of the wedding, Denver was wrapped in snow. Fat, soft flakes drifting past the floor-to-ceiling windows of the bridal suite. I stood in my silk robe, watching the city sparkle. Eleanor entered quietly, holding a small vintage box. "It's from my mother's collection," she said, opening the lid to reveal a pearl hairpin. "For your veil." I smiled, touched. "It's perfect." "It's all going to be perfect," she said, her voice thick with emotion. "You deserve that." That moment was enough to melt any last trace of doubt. Whatever had happened with Tyler, it no longer mattered. Until Julia, my maid of honor, walked in. Her face was pale. "Vanessa, we have a situation." I turned slowly, already sensing what she'd say. "Tyler's downstairs. He's in the lobby. He's demanding to speak to you." The air seemed to tighten. "How did he even know where to go?" I asked. Julia winced. "Your cousin posted a story this morning, tagged the hotel. He must have seen it." Eleanor set the hairpin down, her calm cracking for the first time in 6 months. "I'll handle this," she said, already turning toward the door. "He will not ruin this day." But I stopped her, put my hand on her arm. "No, we both go. It's time to close this for good." We found him pacing near the mezzanine elevator. Tyler Bennett, still tall, still smug, still thinking the world owed him one more chance. He looked up and froze when he saw us walking toward him. Me in my silk robe, veil tucked into my arm, and Eleanor by my side, like a silent verdict. His confidence wavered, just a flicker. "Vanessa," he said, trying for casual. "You look, wow." I didn't smile. Eleanor spoke first, her voice cool and unwavering. "You shouldn't be here, Tyler." He ignored her. His eyes stayed on me. "I just need 5 minutes," he said. "Please." I folded my hands calmly in front of me. "Say it." He blinked. "I made a mistake. Walking away from you. I was scared back then. Immature. But seeing you with someone else, seeing my mom plan your wedding, it woke me up. We had 5 years. Doesn't that mean something?" I nodded slowly. "It did, until the moment you ended it in a text message, while I was sitting in a hospital room holding my dying grandmother's hand." He opened his mouth, closed it. The first crack appeared. "I panicked," he said quietly. "I didn't know how to handle us. You were always so sure, so good. I felt like I was holding you back." I stared at him. "So you dropped me instead of stepping up." He ran a hand through his hair. "Look, I'm not proud of it. But can't we try again? If nothing else, we owe it to what we had." That's when Eleanor stepped forward, and I will never forget what she said. "You don't get to use nostalgia as a bargaining chip, Tyler. You didn't leave because you weren't ready. You left because deep down, you knew she deserved more, and you couldn't give it. And now that someone else is giving it to her, you want to undo it. This isn't love. This is possession." He turned to her, frustrated. "Why are you even on her side?" She didn't flinch. "Because she's the only one between you and me who didn't walk away when things got hard." I touched her arm gently. "It's okay," I said. "I've got this." Then I looked Tyler in the eye. "I loved you. That part of my life was real. But it's over. I'm marrying Daniel today because he doesn't just love the version of me that's easy to adore. He loves all of it." He stayed. Tyler's jaw tightened. "You're really gonna marry someone else while I'm standing right here?" "You're not standing here, Tyler," I replied. "You're standing in the past, and I don't live there anymore." At that moment, 2 hotel security officers stepped into the hallway. Eleanor gave a small nod. "You can leave on your own, or with an escort." Tyler looked between the 3 of us, me, Eleanor, and the 2 silent guards. His shoulders slumped. "I really messed up, didn't I?" Eleanor and I answered at the same time. "Yes." He didn't say another word, just turned and walked toward the elevator. As the doors closed behind him, I felt it, like a door inside me finally shutting, not out of anger, not out of revenge, but peace. We returned to the bridal suite in silence. Julia looked up when we walked in, alarmed. Everything okay? I nodded. Better than okay. Eleanor reached for the pearl hairpin she brought earlier, her hand steady again. Now, where were we? She said softly. She fastened the veil into place with practiced care, smoothed my shoulders, adjusted the neckline of my gown. And then she did something she hadn't done in the 6 months we'd been planning this day. She hugged me, hard. Let him be a shadow, she whispered. You walk in sunlight now. I don't remember every moment of the wedding ceremony. I remember stepping into the ballroom beneath a vaulted ceiling of flowers and light. I remember Daniel waiting at the altar, eyes filled with wonder like he was seeing me for the first time again. I remember Eleanor in the front row, dabbing her eyes discreetly with a handkerchief that matched her silver dress. She didn't look at Tyler's empty seat. She didn't need to. Daniel took my hands and the room disappeared. I promised to show up, he said. Every day, no matter what storm is outside or inside. I smiled through my tears. I promised to keep building. I replied, brick by brick, not to fix what's broken, but to grow something new. When the officiant said, you may kiss the bride, Daniel didn't hesitate. We walked back down the aisle together, not just toward a future, but away from every unspoken goodbye we had ever survived. At the reception, the mood was joyful, warm, intimate. No one mentioned the brief situation from earlier. It didn't belong to the day anymore. Later that night, during the first dance, I glanced over at Eleanor. She looked radiant under the chandeliers, part wedding planner, part guardian angel. Daniel leaned in as the music swelled. That was him, wasn't it? I nodded. He's gone now. Daniel didn't ask more, didn't need to. He just held me tighter and whispered, you didn't run, you didn't hide, you faced it all, and I'm lucky to be the one who walks forward with you. After the cake had been cut, the guests had danced, and the photographers had packed up, Eleanor found me outside on the hotel terrace. Snow was still falling, softer now, like it was tucking the night into bed. You did it, she said with a smile. We did, I corrected. She handed me a small envelope. Open this when you're home. It's not from Tyler, I promise. We laughed, a real, full laugh. She hugged me again, this time longer. You were never just a client, she said, or my son's girlfriend. You're the kind of woman I wish I had raised him to deserve. I didn't cry, but I almost did. Because this moment right here, meant more than any apology ever could. 3 days after the wedding, Daniel and I returned home from a short cabin honeymoon in Estes Park. It wasn't tropical, but it was ours. We'd spent the weekend unplugged, no social media, no texts, just hot cocoa, flannel sheets, and snowy sunrises through pine trees. But the moment we stepped through the door of our apartment, I remembered the envelope. Eleanor had given it to me on the hotel terrace after the wedding, tucked in her coat pocket like it held something sacred. She didn't say what it was, only that I should open it when things were quiet. Things were quiet now. I opened it at the kitchen table. Inside was a short letter. Her handwriting was elegant, like everything she did. Vanessa, I once thought my son would be the one to build a future with you. But love isn't just history. It's consistency. You showed him grace. You gave him years. And when he failed you, you chose peace instead of bitterness. I wanted you to know, on your wedding day, I was more proud of you than I ever was of him. Use this gift to create something beautiful for your new life. Love always, Eleanor. Tucked inside the envelope was a check. $10,000, a wedding planner's fee, refunded in full. I covered my mouth with my hand, not because of the money, though that alone was stunning, but because of what it meant. Eleanor didn't want credit or repayment. She wanted me to start fresh without any weight from the past. 2 weeks later, I received another message, this time from an unknown number. It was a photo. Tyler on a beach somewhere, beard grown, holding a guitar, captioned, "Sometimes you don't know what you had until you ruin it." No name, no follow-up, just that. I didn't respond, didn't even save the number. I showed it to Daniel. He read it once, then deleted it without a word. Was that the right thing to do? I asked. He kissed the top of my head. You've already done the right thing, you walked away, and that was that. 6 months later, Eleanor visited us at our new house, a cozy 2-bedroom just outside Denver. She brought lavender cookies and tulip bulbs for the garden. Daniel grilled, I poured wine. We laughed until the stars came out. She never brought up Tyler again. Neither did I. Because when you finally build something with someone who knows how to stay, the people who couldn't become background noise, muted echoes of another life. And one day you realize you don't miss them, you don't hate them, you just don't need their shadow on your joy. 1 year later, I stood barefoot in our backyard, pulling weeds from the tulip bed Eleanor helped me plant. Spring was in full bloom, and so was life. Daniel's laughter drifted through the open windows. He was on a video call with his nieces, doing a silly voice with our dog barking in the background. Peace used to feel like a fairy tale I couldn't reach. Now it was just Tuesday afternoon. Sometimes people ask me how I managed to stay so calm when Tyler showed up that day. How I didn't scream, or throw something, or fall apart. And I tell them this: I didn't need to. Because nothing he could have said in that hallway would have changed the truth. He left. And I stayed standing. I stayed standing long enough for something better to find me, something steady, something real. Someone who doesn't disappear when life gets messy. People think revenge is loud, explosive, final. But sometimes, revenge is soft. It's your ex watching from the sidelines while his mother adjusts your veil. It's saying your vows with clear eyes and no ghosts in your chest. It's watching love walk in, and for the first time you believe it's staying. Eleanor still visits. She's family now, in every way that counts. And Tyler? He became a story I used to tell. Because sometimes closure doesn't come from answers. It comes from knowing. You didn't beg someone to stay. You gave them the space to leave, and then you let someone better walk in. What would you do if your ex crashed your wedding uninvited? Would you crumble or rise? Drop your thoughts in the comments. Vote Have Team Vanessa if you believe some chapters deserve to end, with grace and a witness. And don't forget to subscribe to EN Reddit Story for true tales of closure, strength, and poetic karma every single day.